Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is May 29th. And once again, you get to spend a half hour with us.
Isn't that awesome?
It is awesome.
Yeah.
It's more awesome that I get to spend a half hour with you.
Well, at least you got somebody here.
I know, because it's very lonely where I am right now. But we got a full half hour of Listen Up.
Riveting entertainment.
Riveting
There you
entertainment
go.
with John and James and Listen Up, Santa Paula.
Rough Edge FM. Irritatingly irresistible internet radio at roughedgefm.com.
There's so much going on in your community that even in this age of information, it's tough to keep up. This show will help. It's all about what's new, what's happening, and what's out there. So if you're ready, sit back and listen up, Santa Paula.
All right, that's us.
Yes.
That's our cue.
Focus.
Yeah, I know. Too much going on. Way too much going on. So we got the summer festival coming up, the Citrus Festival,
Yep. Citrus Music Festival.
and we like everything good.
Everything's good so far.
We're on track.
We're coming to our couple deadlines we have to hit. So
All the bands are lined up.
bands are lined up. We have we're gonna have probably about 30 or 40 vendors. Hopefully we have all of our food trucks. That's what we're waiting on, a couple more, but city permits in. We're doing some county permitting the next couple days, and I think we should have everything ready to go.
And when is the Citrus music? Citrus.
Citrus, not citrus.
I know.
Okay. It is June 29th.
June 29th. Oh,
And
I
June-
have it on my
there
calendar.
you go, as you should.
I know.
And June 30th. So it's a 2-day festival.
2-day festival.
Yep.
So so can a vendor be there for one day?
We prefer them not to, because it's a fenced off area. It's just a lot more work moving people in and out,
Okay.
but we can make arrangements.
And how long does the event go for on Sunday?
On Sunday, it goes from noon till 7:30.
Okay.
Are you thinking about it?
Well, yeah, but we have Alice in Wonderland is on the 30th.
Ah,
So
okay.
it's a production from PTYA.
Yeah.
And so I do all the lights and sound for them.
Yeah.
So I would not be able to be there, but Joshua could probably be there.
He wants to do it.
Yeah.
We can.
Get some balloon animals. Jared will be busy with PTYA because he's taking over for Julie while she's gone.
Yeah. Mhm.
So
See, Julie's gone, and look what happens.
I know it's
takes
really
some-
weird.
It takes how many people to do Julie's job?
It's for PTYA.
Yeah.
About 5.
Exactly. So,
Home, like nobody's doing her job.
no. I think she knows that too.
Yeah. Like for example, every morning she gets up, she makes the bed,
Mhm.
and she's got her little pillows, her throw pillows that she puts on the bed.
Mhm.
Those throw pillows have not been on the bed since she's been gone.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of
So-
throw
no.
pillows at all. So-
And I have
Mm.
I sleep with the what do you call that thing that goes on the top of all the sheets and everything, but you're supposed to take it off when you're sleeping. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever, comforter or whatever it is.
bedspread, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, those kind of things.
So she always pulls it down.
Uh-huh.
I've been sleeping with it, and in fact, the bed doesn't even look like it's been slept in because I just stay on my one side. Her
Uh-huh.
side is still all made, and
Oh, my-
it's lonely.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
You're a mess.
I am a
Yeah,
mess.
geez. See, she's gone. You're out of whack.
I
You're
am.
a
I'm
little-
totally lost. I thought yesterday was Wednesday, but it was really Tuesday.
I think everybody was confused yesterday.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Can you believe it that we are into June?
Yeah. This Saturday, right? It's
Yeah.
June. I know we're almost halfway through the year.
It's
It's nuts.
it's maddening.
Yeah, we were just talking about the beginning of the year, and here we are mid-year now, and I'm already starting to think about Christmas now, what we're gonna do.
That's crazy.
It's nuts. This is about the time last year we started thinking about it after our event, and it's just like, all right, we got to what are we gonna do for the holidays? And here we are.
Wow.
It's like, damn, we just had this, you know.
I have a pretty large bill that I have to pay every month, and the mortgage on this property,
Mhm.
and I pay it. It's always a struggle, and then I think, okay, I at least have a few weeks to breathe, and it feels like next week I got to go pay it again.
I know, it's crazy.
So
I know. I have all the stuff on auto pay, and it just like goes. I'm like, it's happening again. I just paid this. No, it's been 3 or 4 weeks already.
Yeah.
Just time flies right now.
I do mine on auto pay, but there's this funny thing called you have to have money in the bank.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I worked for a bank when I first started.
Mhm.
First started in the accounting department, and then I became the deposit services manager.
Mhm.
And we used to always joke about the whole thing of how could the check bounce? I still have all these other checks, you know?
Uh-huh.
And I actually had a little old lady come in, and she's like, I don't understand why you're returning my checks. I still have this whole book full of checks.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, ma'am, you have to have money in the account to cover what you're writing against those checks. Well, then why did you give me all these checks?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. They don't, how many people write checks now?
I know.
I might write one a month now.
I write about 3 or 4.
Yeah. Everything's just, to me, it's like set up as auto pay. Everything just goes, but which isn't good because I don't always follow it.
Yeah.
Just, you assume the money's there and everything. And for the most part it is, but yeah, I don't even pay attention to that anymore. Before with a check, you balance your budget, you do the whole thing. And now it's so easy with having auto pay, but you can get lost really fast with it.
Oh yeah.
So, and I mean, my grandkids will never know what a check is.
That's true.
Your grandkids too. Yeah. They
Yeah.
don't know what a check is. Our kids barely know what checks are.
They probably won't know what cash is.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm still one that likes to carry cash though.
Well, there are several businesses since COVID that moved to a cashless business.
Uh-huh.
And LA is actually passing a bill that is going to force those businesses to accept cash because there are a lot of especially in this area, there's a lot of unbanked people.
Yeah, and cash or even debit cards or credit cards and stuff. And back to our event, that's what we were talking about is like, how do we do this event? Because we have a lot of people that just only use cash. So especially for our Sunday crowd that's coming in. So we're trying to figure out, we wanted to go all cashless, and that's hard in a community like this.
Yeah.
So we got to figure out what the right balance is. We've done pre-sale tickets. They did okay, but we're going to pretty much do everything at the door this year. And it's just, we need to figure out what the balance is going to be. I think last time we had that event, we did probably 75% cashless. Everybody used debit cards and stuff, but then Sunday it was probably 60-40 in using cash.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was just it's tough for any place that does it, now where they go all cashless, and you'd have to have the ATM that you feed money and get a card and all that. And I know they have that. So we're trying to make it as convenient as possible for people, but we'll see. What are you up to?
I'm looking something up.
Okay. How to do a podcast.
Yeah. So according to the Board of Governors, there is no federal statute mandating that a private business, a person, or an organization must accept currency or coins as payment for goods or services. Private businesses are free to develop their own policies on whether to accept cash unless there is a state law that says otherwise.
And so they're doing this in LA?
LA is passing a law that states that they have to accept cash.
But is California one of these states? It's an exception.
Let's see.
Because how can a city or county force a business to do it if it's not even regulated by the state? I mean, I'm sure they could, but
right.
Well, you never know in California because it's California.
Yes, right.
We do what we want.
In Colorado, the act requires retail establishments that offer goods or services to accept United States currency to purchase the goods or services, but does not apply to. But
Yeah.
da, 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 da.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how they can justify forcing a business to do that. You know,
I think it depends on where you live. You know, I mean, you're excluding a good number of people in certain areas of this country.
understandable, but it's in a sense it's your right as a business owner, right?
True.
So
True.
people shouldn't have to, when you start getting, governments involved in your business and telling you how to run your business, especially a small independent person, that becomes a problem.
Yeah, and it's such a fine line because like you have the handicap statutes
The
and
ADA
everything,
stuff,
the ADA stuff.
Mhm.
And there are some things that I'm sorry, you're handicapped, you just can't do.
Mhm.
And to to say that they have to be accessible to, I mean, there are some things that it's like, no, it's not going to happen.
I mean, for the most part, you try and accommodate best you can, right?
Well, a magician's assistant, for example,
Yeah.
you couldn't use somebody in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I mean, how are you going to saw them in half and all of that?
Yeah.
So does ADA require that if an assistant that's handicapped and in a wheelchair, that I have to give her the same opportunity to become an assistant? That, I mean, there are some things that I would say, unfortunately, and the same thing with cash, as as a small business,
Mhm.
do I have the right to say I'm only going to go cashless?
Yeah.
And when the government starts stepping in, it's
Yeah.
kind of like, it's such a fine line, because there are some things where you're saying a business should not be allowed to do that, but then at the same time you're saying that it's their business.
Yeah. Because it's your business to a point
Yeah,
until the government says different.
right. But
So yeah.
how far do we want the government to start saying
Yeah.
differently?
Yeah, a situation like ADA, I could see where you have to make it, where they can at least enter the facility.
Right.
Doesn't mean they have to have access to everything. You'd like to, but sometimes you just can't. It's just the business is not set up that way. You basically it's like your door entries, your aisles, and all that. But like you said, to your point, to get up and do something like that, probably not going to happen.
Yeah, those gyms where you swing on the
Yeah.
lines and you drop into ball
Yeah.
pits and you hit the trampolines.
But if there's things out there that businesses want to do to help do that, that's their right to do that too.
Right.
So, but yeah, you're right. It's a fine line. How do we tell people, how to do their business? It's their livelihood.
Right.
I mean, well, they tell us to pay taxes. They tell us to do all these other things. So,
I know.
so it's, and California's got so many other layers to it, so you don't really,
Yeah.
yeah, that's like a whole week worth of shows right there. It really is. We can get both sides of the spectrum coming in too.
Oh, we could. So
Yeah.
yesterday they did the groundbreaking for the new fire station.
Yeah.
And that was good because it was supposed to happen on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm going to pick up a package at the post office and I'm going, there's a crowd at the fire station.
Mhm.
It's Tuesday.
I just got the email that it was Tuesday. Literally, I think it was, or I got a text. It was in the morning. I think it was, or no, it was Friday. Friday, I got a text, whatever it was, and said, "Hey, it's going to be this day."
Oh.
And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then I wasn't going to go because I didn't even know if it was public or not. And then I heard it on the radio. They're inviting everybody to go, and I'm just like, "Okay, I didn't even get a personal invite,"
Right.
So, and then I go to another place for another meeting, and they're like, "Are you going to the groundbreaking?" I'm like, "Yeah, I guess." So then I end up going over there, So,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it was presented the right way to get people out there, but I
Right.
could have done a better job. But
Well,
you
and I think, for even like for me, I feel like having your face there is important if you're
Yeah.
trying to make an impact in the community.
yeah, and, and I was just like, yeah, I mean, the county does what they do, but I think the outreach could have been a little bit better for the
Oh
community.
yeah.
Because you didn't really see the community out there.
No.
And that's kind of unfortunate because it should be open to the community because it's a historic moment in our community,
Right.
and yet it wasn't relayed that way.
It was mostly fire, police, and city employees.
Yeah, and so I was a little disappointed in how that turned out because they could have done better outreach. I mean, if the radio station announces it, why can't they announce it to the public?
So which radio station was it on?
KVTA.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's probably a press release somewhere.
Right.
Never saw it. I didn't really see anything. I don't even think the Santa Paula Times had it. That they
Oh,
were gonna
wow.
do it. I don't remember I don't remember seeing that from Peggy, but it's just like even the city didn't post a notice because they didn't have a notice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because that's what I looked on, because we had talked about it
Yeah.
before, and it's like I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. And so then they're talking about when's the actual groundbreaking going to be. They did the ceremony stuff, and there's confusion. Is it now? Is it going to be in 30 days? Nobody really knows right now because I'm trying to plan an event using that parking lot, and I don't know if I'm going to have the full parking lot or a partial parking lot.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yes, and I put the application in for the whole lot. Haven't gotten word yet on any of that because the city didn't even know. So
Right.
who knows? So I might have an half empty lot that I could probably use if they don't do the groundbreaking or then they don't start the construction.
Right.
So a little disappointed, a little irked on it too. So, but I mean, what are you going to do? We need this new fire station.
Yes.
It's just one thing that just irks me is just the communication sometimes gets lost in the shuffle, and we're all guilty of it.
Yes.
We're all guilty of it, but a big event like that should have done a better job.
Yeah.
So,
No, I agree. It's
anyway.
kind of like the oil museum. The oil museum was a big deal, and it was highly publicized, and and this is a big deal.
Yeah. Well, and then the thing about the one for the oil museum, yes, it was highly publicized and stuff, but it's on a Saturday. There's a lot going on. People, it's
Soccer
it's soccer. There's baseball. There's softball. There's a whole thing going on right now. So you're not going to get a high attendance anyway.
No, but at least people knew about it.
Yeah, but the city did a good job getting it out there.
Yeah, at least people knew.
Yeah, so and they had great food too, and that people missed out. So
Well, the great food I think was primarily for the VIPs, wasn't it?
No, they brought a lot of it out to.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, in the oil rig they had. Good food in the oil rig.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, from ceviche to Mexican food.
I missed that.
Yeah, well, like you were going to eat it.
Yeah, that's true.
Really, But no, it was a good day yesterday overall with having that groundbreak because it's a much needed station that and then the architecture that they're going to do, and then give homage to the old fire station. That old engine that was out there, that's going to be on display. So there's like a little mini museum that's going to be there as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's going to be good once it's done. I think it's scheduled for a year and a half or maybe 2 years from now.
Right.
Done. So, but yeah, it'll add to the downtown tremendously.
Right.
So, yeah, and then we actually had filming last night too, for the first time this year. Filming. Yes, they're filming a movie.
Oh.
Yeah, I was out there till like 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
I had a long day yesterday.
Are you allowed to say what movie?
It's called, I might get it wrong. I think it's Blood Yoke. It's an independent film. Not sure when it's going to start, when they're going to show it. They got about another week or two of filming. But it's a little independent film. They were fantastic. The crew is fantastic. A crew of like 10.
So small budget.
About as small budget as you can get. Probably what we have in our pockets is about the budget they had. But the writer, the two writers, one was the director and one was an actor. And then they had two other actors, or three other actors, and then who were also part of the crew. So it was like the 10 people. There was like 6 that were actually doing the movie, and the other 6 were 2 camera people, and then 4 of the people that were just getting everything set. And they had
I'm very familiar with that process.
One van, and they stuffed everything in that one camera that they were using for every scene. They just kept moving it around from scene to scene. It was interesting watching them how they did that. And when I got there, they were filming inside Marilyn Appleby's business, their architecture business downtown. They were doing some indoor scenes, and then when they moved out in the street in the evening, yeah, it was. I was like, "Where's the rest of the crew?" They're like, "That's it." And I'm like, but they were fine, and it was great. Is that when I met with them a few weeks ago, they were pretty adamant about supporting the businesses, and they all set up dinner at Rabelais.
Oh, nice.
So they all went and had dinner. Then they had coffee. They had pastries. They did all, and they were walking around looking at stores and stuff. So they were doing their part to help support too. So one thing they said, we can't afford to have a caterer,
Right.
but it's like, but we will help support the community. So they did that, and so they filmed their scenes. Interesting, we're filming the scenes downtown on a Tuesday night, usually pretty empty.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, it was bumper to bumper cars going back and forth
Really?
because we were filming. So
they had a
I
lot
saw
of
the
noise.
same 5 or 6 cars going back and forth all night because one of the actors, I was talking to her, and she's like, "Yeah, it's pretty busy." I go, "Yeah, I've seen the same 5 or 6 cars going back and forth several times." She goes, "Yeah, I was watching this one car that was going by. It kept going by." I was like, "Yeah, that's our community." I'm sure they caught wind they were filming downtown, and like, people want to come and look.
Right.
Couple knuckleheads out there that motorcycles, revving the motorcycles while they're filming. They had to stop filming. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're not gonna get on camera, guy. So.
Yeah, I know.
But and you've
that's my
experienced-
bike in the background.
Yeah, exactly.
Hear
You
that
experienced
noise?
it. But for the most part, the community was very respectful. They were staying out of their way. Even the ones that were walking, they stopped, and some were actually walking through, and they just let them go while they were filming. And so it was kind of cool, and they were really nice to everybody in the community, and so it was a good time last night.
Yeah, if it's an active film site and you're walking in it, you've released your rights to.
Yeah, and then because they even said, "Are you okay with walking through?" And they're like, "Yeah, okay." So they just let them walk through while they're shooting the scene, and but it was fun last night. There was
Some extras without extras.
Yeah, some kids came by on their bikes, and they were like all intrigued by the cameras. You see how they do that. So it's kind of cool to see the youngsters looking at that. They're all like, "Oh, they're filming. It's great and everything." And of course, can I be in it? And it's like, just relax, whatever. But they were joking around with them after, and so no, the group that was there last night, they were a lot of fun. There were a lot of young people that you see they're just getting started, and then once everything was done, they like changed out of their outfits and put on their work gear, and then they started breaking down everything. Even the actors, they're breaking everything down, and
yep.
And then they loaded everything on one van, and then snacks went in another car. And you see they did a Costco run for snacks. And they loaded up, and they were done. No, they didn't leave a trace, So it was a good day that they had fun. We made it very accommodating for them because we knew they didn't have a budget,
Right.
So we did what we could to keep their costs down for them as well. But then in turn, they went and spent some money in the community, which was what we wanted.
Right.
So, but yeah, it was fun hanging out with them last night. So
Nice.
yeah, and we're hoping to get more filming here soon. So yeah, it's a struggle for filming right now.
Yeah.
I was just looking at a report this morning that they said that filming's down 9% from last year, and last year was a slow year.
Oh, gee.
Yeah. So there's been very little filming here in Ventura County right now. So it's slowly starting to ramp up. We had a few inquiries, but nothing significant yet. So we're hoping we get some more.
Technology is alleviating a lot of on-site stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. The CGI and all that stuff that
Yeah.
they do, you don't have to go anywhere. You just go in a studio.
So a friend of mine who is he's a pretty significant player in the industry. He's doing a film in Saudi Arabia,
Mm-hmm.
and the movie takes place in Detroit. And so Saudi Arabia is building a full 2-block replica of Detroit
Mm-hmm.
in order for them to bring their movie to Saudi Arabia for filming.
Because it's cheaper.
That's how badly Saudi Arabia wants the movie industry to come over there.
Cheaper. The incentives are crazy.
Yeah, and Saudi Arabia is filthy rich.
Yeah. So they're gonna have that. That's gonna be the new Hollywood.
Yeah.
I was reading this morning too that they're saying that because I guess in filming they get credit, tax breaks or whatever.
Right.
Credits. And California gives like $300 million a year New York gives 700 million a year.
Wow.
And that's on the low spectrum compared to outside the US.
Right.
Yeah, so who knows how much money Saudi Arabia is throwing at these
Oh yeah.
companies.
I mean, they are literally flipping the bill to build them a Detroit city.
Yeah. If you have a $100 million budget and it's costing you 20 million because they're covering the rest, just throw a number out there. Why wouldn't you?
Right.
You know, and they're building all your sets for you.
Yeah.
You know, so it's crazy, and I don't know why the U.S. just doesn't get on board with it. You know, I know in Hollywood, I was reading also that one longtime store that supplied all the costumes for Hollywood. You know, it's like one of the large. I remember seeing a report on him years ago. They're closing because there's no filming from the pandemic to the strike, and most of the filming is outside of Hollywood now. He's like, I have to close. So they're closing, I think, at the end of this month.
Wow.
And so they're selling off
That's
everything.
sad.
Yeah, but they've been a long time, you know, and so these are the effects of, you know, not keeping our filming
Right.
companies here. And, you know, they have that darn radius, the 60-mile radius too, that prevents a lot of companies from coming into certain parts of like our county and stuff too, without exceptions, you know, like Santa Paula is just on the outskirts of that 60-mile radius of filming. You know, everything inside it, you know, because if it's over 60 miles, then they have to pay overnight stays and all that stuff. So it gets more expensive. You know, so you go to Fillmore, Simi Valley, all that area, the East End, that's within the, you know.
Oh,
So
really?
That's why it's tougher for Santa Paula to get filming. So every time we get it, we have to make it as accommodating as possible because it's rare when we get that.
Right.
Now they said they're making a little bit of an exception because of, you know, the strike and everything. So they're letting companies do a little farther out, you know, but it's still not enough. So,
Yeah.
so we struggle all the time with filming. We really do. So that's when we do get
And this is where it all started.
yeah. But because of that line that they decided to, that circle they decided to draw around it, you know, it made it hard. And it's not from, like, say, the studios in Santa Clarita, it's the studios from Hollywood that radius is. And like, so we're just right outside. I think we're like 62 miles out or something
Oh,
like
jeez.
that. So, but you know, it's just, if they really want it out here, they'll do it because they like the scenes and the footprint of what we have and the beauty of downtown and stuff
Right.
too. But it's just tough. So we're trying to recruit, we're trying to do what we can, but it's hard.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And we have our first film festival coming up.
mhm.
We are nearing the end of the regular enrollment. And so now we're going into the late submissions.
Mhm.
June 21st is the deadline to announce those who will be in the festival.
Mhm.
I think originally we were looking at the 25th, 26th, 27th, and 28th.
Mhm.
It'll probably more likely be maybe a 2-day festival instead of a 4-day.
Yeah.
Because you know, it's tough to get started.
Yeah.
We have probably a dozen or so submissions, but so it'll make for a good 1-2 day festival.
Yeah, and that's good to get started, even if it's just a 1 day,
Yeah.
just to kick it off and stuff, because we do that with any kind of an event. You can't just go this full bore,
Right.
you know, because we love more submissions, but we'll take what we have right now for the first.
Yeah,
year.
and you know, one of the things, Film Freeway, which kind of controls the submissions to festivals,
Mhm.
excuse me, their whole market is about advertising to get your festival seen.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just like anything else, Facebook and all those other things. Buy an ad, you'll
That's how
get
they
more
make their money.
exposure. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so we this year, just because we didn't get a lot of funding, we didn't really do any ads. So it was all word of mouth and, you know, just people finding us.
Mhm.
There is one school that I was supposed to get a bunch of submissions for, but they haven't done it yet. So I'm not sure what's going on, but they had a bunch of students that did all these films and they were going to submit.
Catch them before the school's out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's not in Ventura County, it's outside the county.
Mm.
But you know, we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
But
Hey, as long as we have it and get it started, then it can grow from there.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we did our Taste of Santa Paula 3 years ago, and it started really small, and now we're growing, and we're getting to probably after this year, we might have to move the event because it's starting to get that much bigger. we're gonna outgrow our space
And where was the Taste of Santa Paula being done?
at Palazzo, and that's a big area. But
That is a big area.
But it's the vendors. I mean, we can only put so many vendors in there, and it's like we're gonna need a bigger space.
Wow.
So we're
And
hoping.
what are the options in Santa Paula for bigger spaces?
Well, we'd have to go outdoors.
Okay.
And it's hard in November to go outdoors.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, so we've even talked about maybe moving it to the spring or something down the line, or having a second one and just maybe transition to that, because, we don't have a lot of space. That's part of the problem.
Right.
Santa Paula is very limited as far as space. So unless you do outdoors.
Yeah.
We need a big event center, massive event center with a hotel, the whole thing. I could hold 600 people,
Oh, yeah, that would be cool.
Problem is we can't support it though yet. We don't have enough people here, but on the highway maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where Kmart is.
Yeah, well, unfortunately fortunately it's gonna be housing. We
Yeah, I
need the
know.
housing. So but yeah, it's tough. I mean, at least Ventura's got some nearby stuff where they can accommodate larger groups. But
Right.
anyway.
Well, I'm working on a plan to build a really cool art entertainment complex. So
Yeah, you should about a 20,000 square foot facility?
15 to 20, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
when are you signing the papers?
I'm waiting for you to donate me the building. So
Yeah, good luck with finding a building right now. That's tough. I mean, there's some options out there, but it's just
there are.
yeah.
There's the gym, the bank,
Yeah.
and the Masons.
Yeah.
Is it the Masons?
The Masonic Temple.
Masonic, yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can. I mean, I know the city's working on trying to see about occupying some of these businesses. They're talking to some of the property owners now and just trying to see some options. I guess they're even going to go to council at some point in the next month or so to see what they can do to start having a discussion on how they handle these unoccupied businesses, because they've been unoccupied for some 20 years. And some, it's like, how can you continue to do that?
Right.
It doesn't help our community.
right.
So there's some downtown businesses that people are living there and they don't even open the doors. And it's like, I get it why they're doing it, but it's just like, that doesn't help the community. So,
And that's another thin line, because it's like, is if they own the building and it's their why who are we to make them
exactly.
occupy it? But then again,
Mhm.
so
I mean, you can change zoning and you can maybe say that if you're going to live there, you have to actually open it too as a retail, and some were doing that for a while,
right.
but it just kind of got away. And so the city, I think the cities are going to maybe updating their ordinances to see more reflective of what the current times are too.
Yeah.
So, because I think a lot of those have been a long time that, they haven't been updated. So,
Right.
but I know they are working on something, hopefully. And, the downtown merchants have voiced their concerns too. And
Oh, sure. Because
all of us have,
it affects them too.
yeah. And, we're trying to make a very vibrant downtown. And unfortunately, there's some areas that need a little push. So, we're the chamber's trying to do their best to kind of help that along with that. But it's just, it's tough. It's hard to go in and tell you, hey, James, you got to open your doors. You can't be living in here anymore.
Right.
You got to move it. You got to open the doors, do whatever, and you're like, no.
Right.
But you know what? We'll give you some tax breaks to open it and just put a little retail store in there. You get, whatever.
Yeah.
Then you'll start considering it, right? Or
Yeah.
something.
Little magic shop.
There's got to be some incentive. Yeah. So it's tough. It's a fine line like we've been talking about. So
30 seconds or less.
wow, we haven't even got to our events or anything that
I
we're going to do. So tomorrow morning, we have our business roundtable,
Mm-hmm.
9:00 at the Glen Tavern. And there'll be a presentation. I'll be doing a presentation. The city will be doing a presentation. There should be a Harvard update. And they're going to talk about a few other things. So we'll have, I think, our community development director there, and then our our deputy city manager will be there, and some of our council members will be there to answer questions. So, so it's always a good time. We usually get about 20, 30 businesses that attend.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's a good way to network too.
Yes.
And then we have First Sunday, this coming this Sunday, because we're in June 2nd.
Yes, we are.
So that all the museums have some free events going on at their facilities. And the business roundtable is at the Glen Tavern again.
You did say that.
Did I?
Yes.
134 North Mill Street.
You didn't say that.
That's what I wanted to get. So anyway, I knew I put the address down so I could remember it because I always forget the address. I can't remember the number. And then next Friday, a week from this Friday, on the the 7th?
Yes.
Will be cruise night.
And we also have our First Friday Improv.
Every First Friday Improv. So there's a lot happening in Santa Paula over the next week or so.
I think we need to stop using that mantra because the fact is there is always something happening in Santa Paula.
That's what we got the tagline.
Yeah.
That's what we need to put out there.
There's always something happening.
And just show it. What else do I have here? We covered film festival. Wow, we covered pretty much everything as far as, and the farmers market this Saturday, 10 to 2.
10 to 2.
Every Saturday.
Yes.
Everything on my list was covered.
Wow.
As we were talking.
See how that happens?
Yeah, not in the order I put it in.
But as it unfolds, things happen.
We covered every topic. I even had the film festival on there too.
Oh, good.
Nice.
So, I think one of the things that forget it. It totally escaped me.
Yeah. You have an event this week?
No, we have an event. The first Friday
just next
is
week.
our event. Yeah.
Okay.
And but yeah, no, it's I think people are starting to identify with the fact that Santa Paula's got a lot going on.
Yeah, and at the dedication yesterday, you heard Kelly Long and talk about, and the vice mayor talk about, he invited the public to come back, to visit Santa Paula. So I mentioned that we're a growing community. We're the place to be now. This whole valley is really developing.
I told Jonathan that we really need to promote. We need to do a city connection or a Santa Paula connection segment on the drone show. Because I'll bet you in this county, I know they're doing one at the X Games, but this county for fireworks, I'll bet you Santa Paula is the only one doing the drone show.
Yeah. From what I got from the organizers, that it's the only drone show for 4th of July in Ventura County.
Yeah.
So
and that can be a big draw because a lot of people find that to be really, really cool.
Yeah. I know everybody I talk to, they're like, oh, that's great. We're going to go and everything. And I'm like, okay, unfortunately I won't be here. So
I'll film it.
Good. But yeah, it's cool because I guess you can customize a lot of it. And
yeah.
So, hopefully it's very successful and we can build on it. I know it's not cheap. Those are even more expensive than fireworks, I think, at some point.
Is it really?
Yeah. Well, all the programming and all that. I'm assuming. So, I mean, you run a drone and can you imagine running, I don't know how many drones?
250, 300 drones.
All at the same time. That's a lot of electronics. I'm sure it's very expensive to do. So,
all synchronized and
exactly. So, it's I mean, I don't know how that works, but I know it's expensive.
Yeah.
So,
that would make sense because they gotta have them all landed in a certain sequence, so they lay them out, and then the the software, the computer program, basically sends all the commands. They program it with GPS so it knows what to do and where to go and all that stuff. But it's still got to be a monumental task.
And those, how long do they last in the air?
About 30 minutes, depending on, some of if it's a bigger one, they can go a little bit longer, but mine, which is kind of an average size, it will go about 30 minutes.
Yeah. So, and most fireworks shows are 20 to 30 minutes anyway, so it's probably not any different.
No.
Yeah, just make sure all the batteries are charged. I hate to be up there and all of a sudden,
one
drop it on us. That'd be a great show. But no, it should be a lot of fun. And everybody says it's more environmentally safe and the whole thing, and it is. But
I'm just going for the coolness of it.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing like fireworks, but I mean, this might be a cool alternative. So.
Well, and year after year, you see the same fireworks show, and it's like, ooh, this will be something totally different, and the patterns and things that they can make, and
I like the fact you can customize it. So every year it's different. you know, so maybe they'll put your picture up there.
They can do the big SP, and
Yeah.
So
They could put the clock tower. They can do different
Yeah.
things, and hopefully they can capture that. They start doing these iconic monuments of Santa Paula. But I'm just curious, and when they do it, you have to be facing it directly, though, right?
no, there's a light. It's a bottom light on the drone that lights up and changes color.
So if you're looking at it to the east, it should be the same as it's looking from the west.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because they fly them flat,
Mhm.
and the light is down on the bottom. So because if they fly it, at an angle, the drone's gonna want to move in that direction. So
Yeah.
they got to keep it.
I was wondering because people were asking about that. It's like, do you have to be right in front of it? I go, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure there are some bad spots, like if you're behind it or something like that, or
yeah, people that are behind it, they're going to be able to see anything, or just
yeah.
the backside.
I mean, they'll see the lights, but I don't know if it will make the same pattern because it will be like a mirror effect.
See the back of your head,
Yeah.
your face, and hey, it's the back of his head.
I guess.
I'm sure at some point the technology will get that good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you watch the ones in London and overseas that they do and stuff, I mean, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah. So no, it's going to be an exciting 4 or 5 weeks coming up.
Yeah.
In Santa Paula. So
yeah, and Merry Christmas.
yeah. Already,
I know.
So geez.
All right, everybody, we went a little long on this one, but what happened? Oh, I hit my button. That
I
was
guess we were
fast.
done.
I guess that was it.
Yeah.
Kind of like what happened yesterday. I was doing the videoing for the planning commission meeting.
Yeah.
And about 5 minutes into it, they're sitting there talking away, and all of a sudden it just went. I'm like, what the heck? No audio, anything. Their mic, everything audio wise was just gone. So the videos were okay, but the audio was just hosed. So I call up Carl and I'm like, hey, the audio just went like flat, and all you're hearing is in the background. And he's like, well, what happened? I said nothing. I was just sitting at the board, and all of a sudden it just went. And he's like, what did you reset anything? And I'm like, no. I tried resetting the amp and all that kind of stuff, and I went out front to see if maybe it was the crown receiver out there and turned those on and off. I had to stop the meeting, and then I unplugged the Blackmagic board and plugged it back in, and it came back. And he's like, oh man, it's a good thing you unplugged it and didn't hit the master power switch to reset it, because that would have killed everything, and then you had to reset everything up. And I'm like, well, I kind of figured that. So I unplugged the board and then plugged it back, and the audio came back and it was fine. First time that's ever happened. And it happened to be on my first night
first
doing
day on the job.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, great. So Jonathan was a little nervous. Like, well, maybe Carl needs to, and I'm like, no, I got it. I mean, I understand the stuff, and I troubleshoot stuff all the time.
Yeah.
He would have had to do the same thing I did.
Yeah.
And there's nothing they can't, pick up the phone. But I'm hoping he did an upgrade to the board that day. So I'm hoping that maybe something went a little flaky with that, but
it needs to reset itself or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was just weird because we were just, hey, everybody. So thank you for coming to the plane commission meeting. Yeah, it's like
wow. And they had a lot on the table last night too.
Yeah, they did.
So
wow. But anyways, all good.
It's a good first day then.
Yeah, great first day. So but anyway,
all right, we're good.
You're muted. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing.
Oh.
I'm going. Did I mute these things the whole show?
No, I hope not.
I know.
Great conversation today.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, thank you all for listening. Stay safe, and we'll see y'all next week.
This has been a Rough Edge Studios production.